Hey everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Thursday and that means it's Shades of Bravo. Is that what we've landed on? I still don't know the name of this day, but we're going to talk a little bit about Bravo today. I have my buddy here, Landon of the very super famous Instagram TikTok account, Landon Talks, my Southern guru. What's up, Landon?
Nothing. I'm so glad to be back on here with you.
Oh, let me tell you what, we've got some things to talk about because Southern Charm's back on.
And it came back on, didn't it? It got started with a bang.
Yeah. And for me living up here in the north in Virginia, I like to watch Southern Charm because it reminds me of my people, it does. But then again, it really doesn't because I don't know anybody that just fights at parties like that.
And that is the thing about it. They sound like us and they look like us and they do all the things, but we don't really fight at parties like that. So it's definitely like a dramatized version of all the things. But I feel like if you let Southerners loose, like in these cases, I think this might be the result. If we stopped, if we didn't have inhibitions, this is what would happen.
I think that's right. I think it is because they're filming a reality show, they feel like they could just have a few drinks and let somebody have it at a party, where that really doesn't happen that often in the South. Right?
The setting that it's in, and I think the setting that they're in definitely encourages that. And I just wonder about the producers off to the side, how did y'all get the tension this high, or did it just come this high? I wonder, and it could just be that high. But I feel like surely there's somebody poking and prodding.
Oh yeah,
don't you think? There's
yeah, they're like, oh yeah. Yeah, Shep said this, so why don't you ask him about that?
They're like, how did you feel about that? Did it make you mad? Don't you want to be mad about it?
Yeah, Shep thinks you're going to talk to him about this. I'll tell you, I have a story about Shep that if the listeners of this podcast were listening last year after BravoCon, they know that I ran into Shep at a hotel bar at BravoCon. It was the last day of BravoCon, maybe. It was Saturday. BravoCon ended on Sunday. So it was Saturday night, and a lot of the Bravo people were all at this one hotel, the Gansevoort. And a lot of them weren't there down there mingling with the riffraff, those of us. Some were. The Manzos from Jersey were mingling around with the riffraff, but not really. But anyway, here comes Shep. He just comes in, and he's real tall. I mean, he's probably, he's got to be like 6'4". I mean, he's real tall.
He looks tall from the screen.
Yeah, he's super tall. So he came in. I don't know who he was with, but anyway, he was laying down in a booth at this bar restaurant. And so a couple of these young girls were standing near us at the bar that we'd kind of made friends with, and we're chatting with them, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'd love to meet him. I was like, oh, he's going to eat you for lunch. I don't think you need to go over there, young, cute, blonde girl. But I went over. I was like, I'll go over there. What do I care? So I went over and introduced myself and said, we have a friend in common, which we do. And I was telling him that. And so he's like, oh, yeah. So I was like, well, these cute girls over here just wanted to get a picture. So I thought I'd come over, Southern style and say our people in common. And then, yeah. So I did. These girls came over. He was so lecherous towards them. And then he was lecherous towards me at the time, a 53-year-old lady. I was like, ugh. I was like, I'm practically as old as Miss Pat. Don't be, ugh. But I've got some great pictures. I'll send them to you later.
But at least they're not at least there were no surprises. That's what I would think would happen. We're being consistent. We're consistent here.
That's a great point, Landon. At least he was consistent. And if I see him this year, I imagine it would be more of the same.
Just consistency, right. And that is one thing about Shep, is that he is Shep and always has been. He's that same person he was the very first season, I feel like. I mean, maybe we've gone through some more things, but he's still that golden retriever, bubbly Shep type of a personality. I feel like he's that same guy.
And a lot of people are like, with his ex Taylor, they're like, oh, she shouldn't have ever believed he was going to change. I was like, well, you don't know what the two of them are having conversations about. And he's telling her yeah, once I hit 45, that's going to be the age I'm going to want to get married. And she's believing it. So I just don't fault her,
Right. And when you're in the moment, it's certainly that thing. And also I feel like they were very upfront about it. It wasn't it was a surprise that she didn't need to think about these things ahead of time. And it felt like they were open and communicated about it pretty well. I thought they were doing pretty good about it, but they didn't have a good time in the end.
Did you ever think that Austin and Olivia were a real couple? Or did you think it was for the show?
I felt showy about it, but I don't know. And then also it goes to when you're making the show and they're in these close quarters with people and they're like around the same people and they're around the same group, it would happen even if it wasn't for the show. I feel like it definitely would encourage that kind of thing, you know, like it doesn't happen if you're not around those people and they are around each other because of the show. So I feel like maybe they all feed each other, the show.
Like an office romance. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Huh. Well, we're missing Cameron on the show. I think Cameron was a pretty good representation of people that I know that I'm friendly with in the South, and that she
Yeah.
definitely would not start a fight at a party.
She would not, and that's probably why she's not on the show anymore. But you know, like there's not much drama to add from there. But she is exactly like it. Everybody I know from Madison, Mississippi, from Petal, from all those places, like that's them
Petal.
right there.
Petal.
Those girls.
Where is Petal? I don't even know where Petal is on the map.
Hattiesburg. It's just I thought about it because I really honestly, there's a girl I know that looks like her from Petal, and so it immediately made me think of that. But it's like near Hattiesburg. It's just a little suburb. You got Petal and Hattiesburg, but it's not So-So, and that's a real town.
So-So. I know about So-So. A friend of mine's husband, a few years ago, my mom was in town and we were having dinner and we saw this other couple. They're from up here in Virginia. And the husband said, "Oh, do you know my father's family was from Scuba?" Or is that how, do you say Scuba? But it looks like, is with OOBA? I can't remember.
It is. There's Scuba, and then there's Tomb Scuba. That's like a whole different Tomb Scuba. It's like, and it's not spelled like that at all. It's, you know, there's lots of ways to say that around here. But yes, Scuba is a place that I've passed. And I'll tell you something about Scuba is they got a 4-way stop, and there's a cop that sits near that 4-way stop, and you need to be sure not to roll through it.
Okay. Well, I don't even know where Scuba is, but he was saying it was maybe near the Louisiana border, I think.
I'm the worst at directions, but I've seen the sign and I've seen the 4-way stop and I've been there, but I would never know where I am. Don't ask me directions. I will not. I'm not the one.
Thank God for Waze.
Exactly.
I will tell you, Brandon, that in October I'm going to be in Mississippi visiting the family, and I am making a pilgrimage over to Hattiesburg to go to the Dirt Sheep.
Well, and I'm going to come see you. We're going to have to visit when you're here in October. That sounds fun for October.
Okay.
Yeah, the Dirt Sheep is a serious thing, and it's very important in the whole town. The Dirt Sheep in Hattiesburg, they're different in different places, and the Hattiesburg one has a lot of treasures. And there's a Hudson Salvage that's not the Dirt Sheep, and you can get floor stuff and house stuff there. It's a whole world of Dirt Sheeps.
Well, Dirt Sheep I'm obsessed with, and I've been to. Last time I was in Mississippi, my sisters and I spent an entire day, and we went to like Pearl, Yazoo City, and somewhere else. We went to 3 in one day, and they're all very different. And then Katie from the podcast A Date with Dateline, she records with me on a recap we're doing for 90 Day UK. But she's obsessed. She went to theater school and she's into costume and she's a stylist. So she's very obsessed with Dirt Sheep, and she lives in Nashville. And she does day trips where she will go like, how far can I drive? Like 5 hours away to go to that Dirt Sheep. She has really gotten them all down. So she may meet me in Hattiesburg from Nashville.
That's fun. It's not a terrible, like, it's just kind of straight Nashville. I mean, it's long, but it's like not a terrible drive to get down there, especially for Dirt Cheap. It's worth it. But I love that you said that about the theater, because we used to do the musicals at our school and do all this other stuff, and we are in part of the theater here a lot of times, and theater people make it happen, and Dirt Cheap is where you can make it happen. You can make a costume from Dirt Cheap, and I appreciate that, like the scrappiness of it. I think that's very, very fun.
She loves to dig through a Goodwill or something, because she's looking for like high-end things, because sometimes she says the people at Dirt Cheap don't know what they have. Right, but she knows like these brands that maybe like are French or Italian, and maybe you don't know them because they're not like the normal. They're so she's very into it. She also gave me a hot tip on the website Goodwill of San Francisco. They have a lot of stuff.
I bet.
Yeah, and another thing she told me to do when you're looking for stuff is to go to ThredUp, which I do. Like I do a bag to ThredUp every season to donate. And she says if you go to ThredUp and when it says brand, you click other. And there's tons of stuff there. She was like, because they don't know what they have or they don't know what the brand is. And for her, a stylist and a fashionista, she knows that this is some like $2,000 something, but they don't know. So they've marked it at like $6.
That is so clever. I could fall off for hours like looking through that kind of stuff. That would be so
I know. Me to have a total problem. Another thing I've been doing lately is everything but the house. And that's my sister turns me on to that. I'm constantly bidding on stuff there. And I got like a keychain. I got like some bucks. I need nothing. I need nothing.
And
Yeah.
yet, here we are.
And yet, here we are. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm coming to Dirt Cheap. I'm very excited about that. And I will tell you guys, you don't know this, or maybe I told it on the podcast, but I don't think so. My good friend, Mary Preston, yes, it is Mary Payne and Mary Preston. It's been our whole lives. It's been a problem. And when we lived together in D.C., it was really a problem.
I bet.
People not only didn't understand what our names were, they would just call and leave a message for Mary. And we're like, well, we don't know who it is.
Don't know which one
if we don't know. But she was going to Laurel, and I introduced Mary Preston to Landon. She was literally just going to like drive around and see it because of the show, because of Hometown. So I introduced Landon to Mary Preston, and Mary Preston's real easy breezy, go with the flow. She might go with me to Hattiesburg too, by the way. And she's real go with the flow, easy breezy. And they met up, and Landon gave them an entire tour of Laurel. She said they had the best time.
Well, we all know that I talk too much anyways.
She talks a lot too. She's like me.
The
Yeah.
whole thing, so don't give me a chance or I like really will. Don't give me the chance or I'll take the whole afternoon. But I had so much fun and I just feel like I know her and like it's just people that I know, I feel like, and they're so easy and so comfortable. And we had a real good time.
I know, isn't that crazy? That's crazy. Okay, Southern Charm. All right, let's move off of Southern Charm because I don't always feel like they're just a great representation of the South.
When I
Yeah,
posted about it, a lot of people from Charleston messaged me and were like, this doesn't represent us. And I was like, it's okay. And know that it's a TV show.
I know, I think that. But I was talking with our mutual friend, Kate Casey, last week, and she said, if you had to set a reality show in the South, what would you do? Now, listen to my idea. Don't steal it. This is TM, trademark. This is my property. I'm saying it. It's my property. Don't steal it. I think a reality team could come in and make a show in Jackson proper, Madison, Richland, the whole thing about Mistletoe Marketplace. And you got to start. So Mistletoe Marketplace is in November. So you got to start it in October of the year before when the chairman is learning the ropes from the current chairman. And then the minute Mistletoe is over, the new chairman takes over and they start planning for 1 year for the next year.
I mean, I watched that documentary for sure. Like that was so much. I think that is great.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a solid idea. I think you need to take it to them and tell them because that's it right there. That would do it. There would be no drama that needed to be stirred up. It would do its own. It would be all the storylines that you need.
I think it would be great. And so today, do you follow that Instagram account? There's several of them like all over the world, but the one I follow a lot of them. This one, Overheard, Jackson, Mississippi.
I don't think I do. I really don't scroll on Instagram that much, so I'm not good at following different accounts. But I will look it up. I've heard of those before. I think I've seen a few posts from.
Yeah, like Overheard New York City.
Overheard in Walmart, even that kind of.
Yeah, Overheard in Walmart, Overheard in Washington D.C. Those are really funny. But Overheard Jackson, Mississippi. There was one that was like, "No, we're sponsoring Mistletoe, so my tuxedo has to be good."
Yeah, that sounds right. No, we're sponsoring.
Yeah.
Here. Exactly. And who's the sponsor? Who's hosting the preview party? It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Kate was like, what? I mean, she had zero idea. She was like, I don't understand any of this.
I think you're on to something here. I think you should really pursue it because that is solid. That's a solid gold idea.
Yeah. Maybe Kate and I can do it together.
Yes.
So, okay, I want to talk to you about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So this recent episode, I feel like we had 3 feuds going on, okay? So we've got Pastor Mary versus Whitney, okay? We got Meredith, Drunken Meredith versus Angie K. And then we had Heather versus the Espresso Martini.
Yeah. That's so funny.
When she was lining those espresso martinis up the empties, I was like, oh, that's like something. Milk. That's like milk and coffee and vodka.
And caffeine. It's like, that's a lot. That's a lot to take all at once. But I feel like one espresso martini is a good place to be, but that many is not the best. Not for me anyways. I'd be like cringing and like, I don't know. Great.
Yeah, it's a great idea, but you can't just slam those. But I will say it was interesting because what we did see at that dinner is we did see Mary drinking quite a bit when she was like, oh, I'll have an espresso martini. And then later we see him with wine on the table. And I've never really seen her. We've seen all these women kind of in various stages of drunkenness. Never really seen her drink that much or get drunk, but she was drinking just as much as the rest of them.
Yeah, and I wonder about that too. And it's never been answered exactly. Like, okay, so Salt Lake City has like a lot of like religious influence, right? But they don't seem to mind that they don't, like I feel like they drink on the camera and it doesn't seem to be like a problem. Am I turning Southern culture about drinking into Mormon culture about drinking, or is that not the
No,
culture?
Mormon. If you're true LDS, if you're true Mormon, you're not allowed to drink, and you're not allowed to have caffeine either. By the way, two
Right, that's what I
things.
thought.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
but none of them. Okay, Lisa Barlow is Mormon, but she owns a tequila company and drinks plenty and loves a Diet Coke. So that's why I think she's so upset about her son kind of being more strict than she is and doing the mission and all that, because they're very different in that way. She's not so strict.
Yeah, that was something.
And the other one, so Heather is no longer Mormon. Whitney's no longer Mormon, and we find out that the new girl Monica is also no longer Mormon.
So,
Pastor Mary is some sort of evangelical crazy, and then who else do we have? Angie Kay, I believe, is like Greek Orthodox.
okay. So
Nobody's breaking a rule.
So this group of people is not following those specific rules, and it's kind of, I can see that. Yeah,
I don't think Meredith was ever Mormon of any kind. I really don't even think she lives in Utah most of the time.
Well, it's a beautiful place.
I've been there. It is incredible. For somebody like me that's never been around mountains that big, I've been around the Virginia mountains, but you go into somewhere like Utah, because I've never been a skier or anything like that. You go in somewhere like that and you just can't, like literally you can't, it's hard to even like grasp it.
No, I have like no comprehension of mountains, like none at all. Like even like if I ever go see them, like them off in the distance, I like cannot compute how big or how far away or what. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like I really am baffled by people that live in mountains. Like y'all live in a totally different world. And
yes,
like because we're just surrounded by trees here. Like I'm just surrounded by trees. You can't even see in hardly 50 feet because there's forest everywhere once you walk outside. And you get to your mountains and there's a lot of like open areas too, and that's unsettling. I'm like, what? I'm so exposed. So yeah, I know nothing of Mountain Salt Lake City people. I don't know anything about it, but it looks stunning from over here.
It's gorgeous.
I felt that about it. Like I felt like it was just maybe this is a good group of people, or I thought maybe I had turned like Southern Baptist ladies into Salt Lake City ladies, And
well, yeah, you're not wrong in that. If they were true Mormon, devout, they're not supposed to be drinking at all.
That interesting.
But none of them really are. Lisa Barlow is the only Mormon, and then she's just sort of halfway in, halfway out, and that's fine. Whatever's her journey is great. Lisa Barlow, we love her. We love her. So then the other thing that we had this week was Meredith versus Angie Kay. Meredith was so drunk at that dinner. And when they said she turned British at the end, I was dying.
That's funny. That is very funny. And I like kind of approve of it. I thought it was like very hilarious and such a good character thing to end up doing.
That was so funny. She's like, I will talk about the husband. I was like, what language are you speaking?
She did. I was like, all right, it's time to go. It's time to go now.
And Lisa Barlow going into that restaurant in that like bathing suit bottom, I was like, what's happening? You could have said no, girl.
I know. That was shocking. That I don't know anybody that would do that. That would have done that. That was shocking. Because you can get a wrap or something,
Yeah, because I get that the point was they were trying to joke and make each other dress up, and it was supposed to be nice, but then it wasn't. Like, I got it. Like, and that's why when they walked in, the lady was like, love your outfits, ladies. But then Lisa gets so snobby about it. I was like, it's a 5-star restaurant, and I can't go in like that. Oh. And Monica's like, yeah, quit talking about your money and your $60,000 ring. Like, stop.
That comes up on all these shows about do we show the wealth? Do we not show the wealth? We're not supposed to talk about it. We are supposed to talk about it. That happened with the New York ladies in their premiere the other day. I felt like with her talking about her $55 million mansion. We're not supposed to talk about it sometimes.
That's Beverly Hills.
That was Beverly. Yeah, Beverly Hills. I got it mixed up. Yep, she was talking about that, and they got so upset with her. It was
Landon,
not the response.
Can you fathom how much money $55 million is?
No, not at all. If I was thinking about that kind of money, I would be thinking about like university buildings and like stadiums. Like I don't. That's
what I said.
See, that's what
I said.
SEC stuff. We got. Understand.
I was like, yes.
Football stadiums.
I was like, that's the new Manning Library at Ole Miss was $55 million. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
That is exactly what I said. When you think about $55 million, you think about a university building that somebody has donated.
That's a fine arts center or like
Yes.
the whole thing. I know that's the only kind of when we get up in that kind of numbers because because here especially like I mean I'm sure in like LA there are homes that are worth that kind of a money, right? But even the nicest home here is not anywhere near a $55 million home. So a home and $55 million doesn't go together to me, but the Joe Frank Sanderson Center and like that kind of
yes. It's wild. So I can't even grasp it. Now maybe they built it for 20 and they came away 35 ahead, but Terry Dubrow to be doing like the Cabbage Patch dance, like he's going to get a G6 and dancing and all that. I was like, now that we wouldn't do in the South. Like that's tacky.
No. Well, there's a whole lot of things we would not do, and I think having and letting somebody know you have a $55 million mansion is not what would be done down here.
Yeah.
Like that would be like a little
now
bit.
We may behind your back be like, oh my gosh, did you see that they sold that house for $55 million and they haven't even invited me to their beach house yet?
Oh, yeah. And we are all going to the gala that they host or to like whatever Christmas party it has, and I'm going to look in every room, like I'm going to fully investigate the mansion. But yes, we would discuss it.
Wouldn't discuss it.
The Salt Lake City ladies have nice houses too, though. They really got it.
Well, I think that's why Monica was feeling a little less than. And we could all relate to how Monica felt about like she felt like she had to buy this bag or she felt like she was going to be embarrassed when they saw her house because that's a feeling everybody's had in middle school if you didn't have the right shoes or, it doesn't go away just because. And now with her, with the pressure of being on the show, she feels like I need to kind of keep up. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. Look at Gina on OC. Like she doesn't have it. And she doesn't even try to pretend.
For sure. And I think people like genuine more than they like pretend, honestly. The audience, at least. I think people respond to that more than I would rather you be for real about it and not have anything than put on airs,
Don't put on airs. Don't get uppity about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I think. So then another argument that we saw at the very end before Heather started puking was, she was really like throwing up on the floor and you could see it. She had a little paper bag that was like a gift bag that she was I was like, oh, it's not going to hold.
And then they have to like, not only think about that they did it the next day, but then they got to watch it again in the future. Like, reliving not your best moments. That's why I know
she had the door closed because she knew she was sick.
But still.
And then Whitney's like, open the door. I got to get out of here. That would be me. I can't handle anybody throwing up, dogs, babies, anything. I'm like, I can't. And then Heather's like hanging her head like, this is so embarrassing. I was like, it is embarrassing, girl.
And now
it is embarrassing.
Now it's on TV, but that's what we love about y'all. Y'all are giving it all to us every moment, even throwing up in the bathroom.
Well, so Mary versus Whitney. So I did two funny Mary things that happened. The first one was when they got to the Trixie Motel. And you guys, for me, I said that Trixie Motel, the show, was on Netflix. It wasn't. It was on HBO Max. So go find the Trixie Motel show on HBO Max. It was a great show about every one of those rooms, how they decorated them. But when Mary walked up and they were all sitting outside with their drinks and their little snacks or whatever, and they're like, Mary, come over here and sit with me. And she goes, stop. I'm not coming over there. Stop asking me. Don't talk to me that way. I was like, what?
Right. It
was so funny. She was like, quit asking me and don't talk to me that way. When they were literally trying to be nice, like, come sit by us.
I know. That's like what your sister does in the backseat of the car. Quit looking at me. That's what that felt like to me.
Yes. You're so
looking at me. That's what it felt like.
And she's like, I'm just going to sit over here by my... She was still in the conversation, but she was way far away. Mm-hmm. It was real weird. I mean, that's what is so great about her is that she's so weird. She's so weird.
And I
love it.
To me, like I have no idea where she's coming from with a lot of this stuff, but like I love it. That's why I'm watching.
Yes. And then she started getting mad at Whitney saying, you called me a pornographer. You called me a pornographer. You said I was a pornographer. And Whitney goes, and Whitney was trying not to be like condescending or rude. She was like, I really honestly do not know what you're talking about. I said you made porn. And then Mary's like, nobody said anything about porn. She was like, okay, you just said pornographer. Like, what are you talking about? And Heather from her barf bag leans up and is like, predator. It's like, oh.
That was really good, Heather.
So I guess last year, did Whitney say Mary was a predator? Maybe meaning her ministry and stuff, that she was predatory.
I think that's what it was, but I'm not super sure on that because pornography and predator are very different things. Well,
Yeah, they're
related.
they're. I mean, they're related, but they're
They
not the
could be
same
related.
thing. And I don't think when she started saying pornographer, I was like, I listen. Mary's a lot of things, but I don't think she's dipped her toe into the porn industry.
I know that's not the image Mary gives.
It was wild. So then I was trying to remember when Whitney said that, but then of course Heather's puking kind of saved the day because they were all like, "We got to get out of here." Like she's sick. But yeah, I don't think those two are ever going to be friends. I don't think they're ever going to
Yeah.
make any kind of amends.
I think we have like a fundamental disagreement on what people should be amongst those two. They have fundamental
Yeah.
disagreements of like what this should be.
I did hear Andy say, somebody called into Andy Cohen's radio show and said, "Oh, I'm so glad Mary's back. Like, I love seeing her." But it was pretty funny on that first episode when they had the snowball fight and she wouldn't participate. And he goes, "Yeah, she doesn't participate in much."
Yeah.
And they said, so she never participates. He's like, "Nope, the whole season. She just comes and watches. She won't participate."
Well, and that would be such a problem being on a show like that if you were like aware that you're being filmed all the time, right?
Yeah.
These people are going to see this. It would be really hard to let loose. For me, at least, the southernness in me, it would be really hard to not want to be as like minimal as possible. But that's like not the show, so it's like a whole thing, Like you've
Yeah.
got to give it up, but also you're going to be aware the whole time that everybody's going to be watching this. So it would be difficult. I understand trying to stay on the sidelines a little bit. It would be hard to
But a
balance.
snowball fight, like she was just like, it's
I
cold
know.
and I
I
don't want to
wonder.
get wet. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
now I do have strong feelings about getting wet involuntarily, but I usually will do the snowball fight. So
So you're like Ramona Singer. Do you remember that episode with Ramona and Kristen Takeman? It was many years ago. It was when Kristen Takeman was on the original Real Housewives of New York. And they were, I don't know where, somewhere, Berkshires or somewhere, and they were canoeing in a lake. And I guess Kristen had her like wine glass, which was plastic, like in the canoe, because, sure. And they're
right.
canoeing. And I guess she threw it and it got Ramona's hair wet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a huge fight with Ramona saying, "Who are you to get me wet?
Yes.
I didn't want to get wet. Who are you to get me wet?" Yeah.
Right. I relate to Ramona. Also, I think Ramona is just one of the best characters that came from this whole situation. I wonder what she's doing now. Like, what is Ramona doing? Miss her. I think she's just like such.
Ramona has a podcast with her daughter / best friend, Avery. And they have a podcast about mother-daughter things. And she's just living her best life, I think, in the Hamptons. I do know that the Real Housewife Ultimate Girls Trip with the original Real Housewives of New York cast is coming up. So I think in December. So
fun.
yeah, so maybe you can come back on and talk about that if you love
That's gonna
Ramona
be
so
so
much.
fun. Well, I just love a character. I love a character in the town. I love a character on the show, and she's a character, and she doesn't even mean to be like this. None of that is put on. Ramona
Oh,
is
right.
not playing. This is not. She's not pretending. This is Ramona at like her purest. I feel like, and that's what I like about her.
I think that's a great point about Ramona. She's problematic in a lot of ways, but she is authentically herself.
Mm-hmm.
Andy said that after he had his baby, that she came over to his townhouse, which I think he's done 3 apartments put together to make this huge,
Oh, wow.
thing in New York. So you can imagine how
Oh,
incredible it is.
Mm.
And that she came in to give him a gift or see him or whatever. And she'd never been there. Of course, they're not like friends in real life. And she came in and like looked around and goes, "Wow, this is a nice place."
Yeah, that's exactly.
Like she would be surprised that Andy Cohen would have a nice apartment. Like,
Because
wow.
Ramona lives in Ramona's world, and that's all that exists. So when she steps out of Ramona's world, it's surprising, I bet, But I like that. I'm into that. I'm into that.
So, Mary versus Whitney. I don't think they're ever going to get along. And I do love the idea of them going to the Trixie Motel. That was a great cast trip. It was cute.
I thought that was such a good thing. It's like as full of collaboration with the Trixie Motel and everything. Like that's a very good mashup of people because that audience would want to go. I want to go to Trixie Motel.
I do too.
I want them to come do that in Laurel. There is a really shady motel in Laurel off the interstate, but it's like perfect for something like that. But everybody's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to. Anyways, I just love the way they did that. I thought it was so cute, and the whole thing. They were also funny there though, and I loved her asking for Dom Perignon.
2003.
The specific year, yes, that was really great.
They were like, "We have Corbel." I mean, what?
They've got cooks.
But you know the reason she likes that year. You've seen the flashbacks of the reason she likes that year? Who was? I think. God, I can't remember who I was talking to about it. We were trying to remember why, but then somebody posted on Instagram the flashback of why she liked that year. It's because 2003, whatever was the year that those grapes were that made that Dom Perignon, there was either some sort of terrible fire or famine or tragedy where like lots of people died. Lots of people died. But it made for the best year for Dom Perignon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a line to walk on. But yeah, okay.
But Mary doesn't care. She'll tell you why she likes it.
It's on brand still.
It's on brand. On brand.
Likes what you like.
Oh, God. We have a lot of pastors like Pastor Mary in the South, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. There's pastors of all varieties, but there's Pastor Mary pastors as well. But there's plenty of pastors, and if that's not your shade, there's plenty of other ones.
Yeah. You can get some real fire and brimstone going to hell all over the place.
Lord, the wheat and the tares. I don't know if you ever got that one. That was
what?
This man used to come around and preach the wheat and the tares, and it was something about like, I don't know, it was a message, and you like separate the wheat from the tares, which was like the seed in the wheat or something, and it was like God's going to do that. So the real Christians, I don't know, it usually got people to get saved again. You get saved again if you hear that message. You know how you read
I thought it was the wheat and the chaff. The chaff? The wheat and the chaff?
Yeah, it is that, but they said the word tares, and maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I don't know. That's what I remember. It's like Tares. We'll look it up after this and see if that's
okay. All right.
And then,
it's either way, you're going to be separated out if you're not good enough to get into heaven.
And you're going to hell, you know.
Oh, well, okay, of course.
That's the whole thing.
All right, y'all. I don't know where you live, but summer is almost over, and I'm heading into fall. I'm thinking about fall. I'm thinking about trips and things I have coming up in the fall, and I want to look great, and I want to look like fashion-y, but I don't have that bougie budget. You know what I mean? Quince is my spot for quiet luxury without those luxury prices. Quince offers a range of must-have items like 100% European linen and luxurious mulberry silk shirts, and of course the Italian leather, the 14-karat gold jewelry, and I've already told you about the cashmere. Like I've told you about the cashmere. All of their prices are 50 to 80% less than similar brands. And like I told you, at the bottom of each item, they have that little chart that'll tell you like, hey, have you seen this dress at so-and-so? Yeah, you have. And here's the exact same dress for 50 to 80% less. I'm telling you guys, I have bought several cashmere sweaters. Am I proud of buying more than one cashmere sweater? I mean, yes, I am, because I got a great deal on them. I bought a adorable cashmere sweater for my son with some really nice pants that he just wore this weekend when we went to a concert together. You guys, the whole family is on Quince. Yes, they are sponsoring us, and they gave us some stuff. But since then, I have reordered 4 times on my own using the code PINKSHADE, of course. So you guys are wondering how they do it. Quince partners directly with top factories to cut out the cost of the middleman, and they pass the savings on to you. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium eco-friendly fabrics and finishes. So I feel good about getting these super high quality items that last longer. What you're going to do to upgrade your closet this fall with Quince right now, go to quince.com/pinkshade. You're going to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. Guys, did you hear me? 365-day returns on your next order. That's quince.com/pinkshade for free shipping and a 365-day return. Quince.com/pinkshade. That's the whole thing. Wow.
There's a lot of Hellfire and Brimstone available if you're looking for it. But there's also like very many not that shades as well. There's lots of like very kind.
That's right.
That aren't focused.
That's right. That's everywhere. Okay, now I want to talk to you about a surprise topic, which is this Sunday at my house, I am hosting a huge baby shower.
Oh.
My niece is having a baby, and she happens to live up here. So some people are coming from Mississippi, and then some of their friends that are up here in the DC area are coming. I have in the last week, literally rented a dumpster and I've been cleaning out my house like a crazy person.
I believe
This
that.
you can see all this mess behind me. These are some of the clothes that I've got to get over to Goodwill
I believe that fully.
because I don't want all these people in my house, and
Mm-mm.
I want it to be on best display. Because like maybe once or every 2 years do I have like a big party.
No, I know, and it's kind of you have to kind of have to schedule them so that you keep on top of the house. Even like you got
Hmm.
this, so we got to get everything in order. So we know we're going to get it in order. So schedule it.
Hmm.
But yes, no, I know, and I have seen ladies be more stressed than I've ever seen them about hosting a baby shower or hosting a housewarming or something like that. Hosting a party is such a deal because it's not just a reflection on who you're hosting it for. It's not just about them. This is a reflection on you. you know.
It's about me.
This
It's
is
about
about you.
me.
They were saying this is a party for her, but ultimately this is for you to show
Right.
everybody the gracious host that you are, and
That's right.
everything's got to be right for that.
Well, they've given me minimal jobs, which is great because it's all these like fun 30-year-olds, right? They're all in that baby age. And then of course my sisters are coming and everything. But um they've given me minimal jobs. I'm to make the pimento cheese to
Hmm.
put on little crackers.
Hmm.
What should I put on top of that? I think I want to make it cute, like on a round cracker with a little pimento cheese. And what
For a
should I put
baby
right on
shower,
top?
I'm not sure. There's so many options for stuff like that, and I mean, people will love to add like nuts and things to stuff like that, like a cheese ball kind of a thing. I don't know.
Hmm.
When you figure that out, there, let me know because it'll be delicious. Pimento cheese crackers. I'm about
It'll
it.
be really cute because I want it to be easy to pick up and not have to like scoop because nobody needs to be scooping at a baby shower.
See, there's so much to think about when you're attending or hosting one of these things, like scoopability, the ease of holding this plate, and all the things off of that.
Yeah.
Lots to consider.
Lots to consider. And so I think a couple of the other hostesses, one that is married to my nephew that lives up here too, they're going to come over like Friday or Saturday and kind of get the lay of the land because they're really kind of in charge. I'm just sort of the vessel
Yeah.
since I'm like the older person. And so I'm the vessel. They can come and do whatever they want to my house. And all I can promise you is it'll be real clean, like dumpster clean.
Yes.
And it's going to be real clean, and I'll have pimento cheese, and I'll put it on crackers, and I'm also in charge of getting some fun cookies from the bakery, with like shaped like baby carriages or whatever. And other than that, I'm real stressed about it. I'm real
Well, I
stressed
think
about
that's appropriate though that they're letting if you're hosting it in your home, you shouldn't do it at many things. That's why usually whoever's hosting the Sunday dinner is in charge of the sweet tea. One, because they're an expert at it. Two, sweet tea doesn't take that much if you know what you're doing. So it's kind of
it.
like you get to step back because we understand what went into you hosting this into your home. Sure, it's just you're just having it in your home, but I know that there was a week of a dumpster emptying out
Yeah.
before this, and everybody knows that that's what's going on. So I think that's very appropriate that they're letting you step back. But then it puts you in the conundrum of now you haven't planned every second of it, and you got to let other people do it.
I know. I'm just
Still
waiting for my
reflects on
sister
you.
to.
So
Yeah, I'm waiting
like,
for my sister to come in town and boss me around, and that's fine, because it's her daughter that's having the baby and all that. So all I want is I just want to get my hands on that baby and babysit. Like that's all I want. I just need a little baby fix after the baby comes along.
a good
So
sniff.
I'm very excited about it. I've called the guy that helps with the yard. I'm like, listen, before Sunday, I need ship shape in the front yard. I don't need people walking up, seeing all this weeds. I gotta do that. I really considered calling the person that does like the window washing, but then I
Mhm.
was like, I really can't do that myself. I really don't.
But you also could just call them if you wanted to. You also could call them. That's another thing.
It's been a real thing. And once a year, usually we used to have a Christmas Eve party every year, but it's a lot more casual. But
Mhm.
last year I decided I'm going to make it fancy. And then I went around, looked like a crazy person for like silver chafing dishes because I had like one, but I needed like three. And people just don't have them anymore. I called my friends that were like fancy. I thought had them, but they didn't have them.
I noticed that I was going through the antique mall in our town, and all
Hmm.
the bridal registries are set out. Which I wonder if people do that. Like, there's tables, with all the people's stuff they want, their platter and the plates, and you don't
Yeah,
see that
yeah.
as much. You also don't see as much china as you used to. People aren't getting
Hmm.
whole sets of china as they once were. I was there just the other day, and I was looking at that, and I was like, this is so different than what even I got 12 years ago.
Oh, you're so young and fresh. So great. Well, yeah, okay, so I'm hosting this baby shower. So like I said, they haven't put me in charge of much, which is great. I'm just gonna, like I said, I'll be the vessel.
Mhm.
I'll have an empty, clean house. You guys come in, decorate like you want. It's real cute what the girls do now, Landon. They put up like what look like little clotheslines of all their little like Feltman smocked clothes and stuff. They hang it up for decoration. It's real cute.
That is cute. I haven't seen that.
It's
But I
real
don't get to
cute.
go to the baby showers. But yeah, that is so cute. That's a great
Cute.
idea with those. Then we get to see them more than just the one time when they wear them. I like that.
Yeah, you get to see them in their decoration because they're usually so tiny that they
Right.
only wear it for a sip and see or
Right.
something.
And they just like wear
Yeah.
it the one time, and then one of them gets framed, and the shoe's bronze.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You can't find anybody to bronze shoes anymore. It's not a thing.
I don't see it. I don't see it happening anymore. But one of them does get framed usually, so it's good to see them out like that. I like that. I think that's smart. That's clever.
It's cute. It's cute. Well, I saw that at first when we had the gender reveal, which was just like a little part. It wasn't like a big thing. It was just like a little thing at their house, and they had some of those cute little outfits hanging up.
That's smart.
Then I got to go through my bins of baby clothes that I had saved for my kids to see if I had any that had been passed down from my sister. So now I could pass it down to my niece.
Oh yeah, this
Super
generational
fun.
clothing is a real thing. If they didn't end up in the frame, they end up with somebody else. Right?
Yeah. And then I found my sister's like christening gown that was from her family. And she was like, I've been looking for this. I was like, well, here it is. It's in my house. I didn't know.
Yeah. Hey, it's a huge deal. All these things are such big deals. Milestones even.
I know. I'm so excited about the whole thing. So I'll let you know how it goes. I've been just really trying to like rack my brain on the circle cracker with the diet pimento cheese that I got from the Garden and Gun recipe is my favorite one. But like something cute to go right on top. But I just can't think
Well, and
what it
then
could
there's
be.
you got to think about like pepper jellies too. Sometimes go good with cheese stuff. Like if you put like a dab of pepper jelly on top of that, there's like different jellies, little
That
spicy
could be cute
jellies,
too.
jellies and cheese and all sorts of things.
Do you know, my husband said the other day we were somewhere and pepper jelly was on the menu like as a side or something, top of something. And I said, oh, that sounds good. I love a pepper jelly. He goes, you Mississippi people really like pepper jelly. I go, yeah, you get a block of cream cheese and smear some pepper jelly on top. That's a party.
Hey, that is a party, especially if you got a fancy knife to go with it, like the little.
Yeah.
We're set up here with
That's
that.
good. Yeah. I was like, it's easy. What could be easier? And it looks so cute. And then I had to get out. Then I had to get out all my McCarty pottery and send a video of what I had.
Do you
So
know
they could,
that the Mississippi Museum of Art has a whole collection of McCarty pottery, and we all just have that like in our houses, and it's like a whole museum-worthy collection type of situation. You probably have a piece that the museum has.
oh, well, that's cool.
I know, it's the whole thing. I was like, what? Here we are, a permanent collection of McCarty pottery.
I went and got it all out, what I could find because it's in various places in the house. And I went and got it out and made a video to send to one of the hostess to say, this is what I've got. So you guys bring whatever. I don't know if you're trying to go with the blue or the green or the brown or what we're trying to do here. And I told my husband comes home and goes, why is all this stuff on the dining table? The dining table is just filled with stuff now, filled. And some of it needs to go to the dumpster. And I said, I had to get the McCarty out to send to Kendall so she can, for the party. And he's like, I'm sure there's more McCarty pottery in this house that you forgot about. He goes, you should go look at all the bookshelves and look. And I was like, you're right. You're right. So
But it's not your fault. People got you that, and then you collected a few pieces, and then people added more to it. It just happened.
Yeah.
The McCarty pottery comes to you. It's not a choice that you made.
I don't believe I've ever bought any McCarty pottery.
Right, like,
it's just given to me.
We choose McCarty pottery. It just is. But we're so glad that we all have it. It is a funny thing to think about. All the people that might be wondering why you would want to like dumpster clean your house. Because, okay, a dumpster clean for everybody that understands. Deep clean is one thing. We're cleaning surfaces. Dumpster clean is when we're going through closets and cleaning out extra stuff. It's a whole nother level of clean. It's what you see on like Marie Kondo type of stuff.
Yes.
Clean. But like, why would you need a dumpster clean if your house can just be clean instead? And it's because we all know, because we've all done it, that we might explore. Somebody might be plundering through this bedroom to see how nice it is and to see what bedspread you got on this bedspread. And there is general, not judgment in a negative way, but we're all going to go like look at it, So it is that you've got to do that for a Southern party of some sorts, because there will be a moment later in the evening when everybody's going to explore.
Yes, and a lot of times people go, "Can I see your house?" I go, "Okay."
Right. Well, if you
shit.
the thing, it's almost kind of like we get to see the house. Like now we get to see it. Like we came, you invited us to see the home, so you can either do it approvingly or approved tour.
Yeah, with the kids' rooms, I'm like, we're just not going to look in there. But here's my office. Isn't it cute?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was like, I'm going to talk to Landon about the baby shower and see if he's got any hot tips for me. I'm also a little concerned about parking because I don't have tons of parking on my street, and I hate for people to have to walk a block.
Well, I don't know about your street situation, but golf carts are huge down here, and people love
Yeah.
a golf cart convoy to the party. Like if you got to park away, we'll hire somebody on the golf cart, go back and forth. Or
My
yeah,
my best friend lives a street over, but if you go out of the back of my house, it kind of is half a block to the front of her house. You know, if you go all the way around, it's like 3 blocks. But if you kind of go out the back, and when my parents first came to visit, and I was like, yeah, their house is right there. Like, if you just go out the back, it's right there. And my dad's like, well, y'all need a golf cart, go back and forth.
yeah, exactly. You do. You got to have a golf cart.
I
They're
was like,
street legal.
it's 4 houses difference. I think I could walk it. I think I
Yeah,
could
well,
walk
but
it.
still, golf carts are a vibe. They're a whole vibe, you know.
I know. They got a lot of golf carts in Charleston. A lot of
Yeah.
golf carts in
Oh,
Charleston.
Charleston has golf carts. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We have golf carts here. Madison's a big golf cart place. Madison
Yeah.
has personalized golf carts. A lot of those, like the zebra golf carts and specific college team golf carts.
Oh yeah, yeah. When you go to Bald Head Island, which is where we go for vacation in North Carolina, lots and lots of North Carolina or Duke, or I've never seen an Ole Miss one. But once I live there, which I'm manifesting, once I live there, I'm going to make
Yes,
red
you can
red
take
and blue golf cart.
you can take it up there.
And then my husband will refuse to drive it.
Unrelated question though, how do you feel about the powder blue?
It was upsetting at first about the powder. So Ole Miss guys, their colors are navy and red and white, right? But then we added this powder blue probably in the last 10 years, right?
Like unofficially or something, it like snuck in. Yeah, in the last 10 years, and it's like occasionally a powder blue uniform, occasionally powder blue this. I kind of like it that you're, like you said, at first I was like, no. Now it's growing on me a little bit.
I like it. And whenever Lane Kiffin, our coach, is wearing something powder blue on the sidelines, my husband or my son will go, I really like that. And then I'll immediately go online and try to get it for him.
It looks good. It looks good. My whole family's such Ole Miss people, so all those little details matter. We went through the Bears and the Sharks whole situation. I don't know what we're doing now, but
we're Sharks. We're Sharks.
Hot topic at the dinner table.
For sure. For sure. So, okay, now I've told you about the baby shower. I told you about my Mistletoe Marketplace reality show suggestion. No, how can I get that going?
I don't know, but you've got to. That's it right there. That is the next documentary that we need. We need that because it's going to be just lighthearted enough to be fun, but also there will be drama. But it's like good lighthearted drama. I feel like it'll be really good.
I don't think the good ladies of the Junior League of Jackson, Mississippi, of which I am a sustainer member, I don't think that they would approve of that or like that. I think they would think it was tacky.
Yep, you would have a Bama Rush documentary situation on your hands. Like, are we going to actually be able to get the content? But if you could find the right character of a lady that's involved in it, she might give it to you. You know, there are characters.
I think they would think it was tacky and not agree to be filmed.
I agree with that. But if we could get them to, if we could trick them or do something and it be legal and ethical, it would be a good show. Yeah.
I mean, if you just really are showing exactly what happens, you're not trying to make anybody look bad. It's just like the drama and the stress of trying to put on this. I mean, they make a couple of $1 million every year on this thing.
Well, and like you said, it starts before the year before. Like, it starts before
the year before.
Have this one. Like, it's well before. And that's with lots of things. And it's serious. And, like, who's chairing it. It's all a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. And it, like you said, who's going to do the black tie gala? And then who's going to get drunk at the black tie gala and really like.
Exactly.
I love when they have the black tie gala. And then I'll get the report later. It'll be like, so-and-so completely had their boobs out, or was just so inappropriate with what they were wearing, or so-and-so got real drunk and fell down on the dance floor. Love it. I love it.
Oh, yes. We have 2 in our town that really cause us a stink every year, and it's very fun to see. We're coming up on them because they're in, like, December. It's going to be so fun.
What is it? What are they?
We have the museum gala, and that's super, super fun. And then and then there's actually like a few more. There's different. We have various. Laurel Arts League has its Christmas show, and the Junior Auxiliary of Laurel has a drawdown. Lots of stuff to go to. I think the Catholic Church has a drawdown. There's a few things to go to that you can wear a bow tie to and a fancy gown, and it's all very worth it and very fun.
There's hardly anything up here in DC that is like literally a black tie and you need to wear like a gown. We have Taste of the South, which is a big party up here. And so it's all the southern states and it's Taste of the South. So each has a booth or whatever, like sponsored by Entergy or whatever is, the Mississippi one usually. And my niece, the one that's having the baby, she's like on the planning committee. And then she posted a picture this year of her and her husband. So he's from South Carolina. So he had on his tux and she had on her, because she's pregnant, this gorgeous long gown. And I was like, oh, I remember the years when I was young and fun and went to Taste of the South.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
We have recently gotten back into it because it's just so much fun. If you got a reason, might as well. And it supports all those things, so they're very good, and it's just real fun. This year, I got a company, Brackish is a company, and they sent me to feather bow ties made out of feathers, I don't know where the feathers came from, but they're like beautiful, like feathered bow ties. They're like
okay. I can't believe you just said that, because that thing I'm looking it up right now. That thing I was telling you about on Instagram, Overheard in Jackson, said something about a feather bow tie.
Well, I'm gonna have one. I got 2 of them, and they're beautiful, and I love them so much.
I wonder that must be a thing. I've never even heard of such.
I can't wait to like stunt on everybody with my feather bow tie. And if anybody is going to the gala and you hear this, don't you dare show up in a feather bow tie. I'm doing it.
Okay, I'm literally like looking for it right now to find out. Well, I sent it to Kate. So let me look at my text to Kate. Because I sent it to Kate and I was like, I told you this is a great idea. And she said, this is bonkers.
Oh, and they even make like bracelets that have the feathers it's a whole thing. And they're not like feathers like spewed everywhere. It's like they make the feathers the print, the pattern, like it's a well-constructed situation. Hold on one second. Let me show you this right here.
Okay. Because this is Overheard Jackson, Mississippi says, make sure to buy the feather bow tie. #Jackson, #Overheard Jackson.
And sorry, y'all can't see it, but I'm showing her right now. And it's just like so beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Isn't it?
When I'm thinking of feathers, I'm thinking like I've got some pants that have some fun feathers on the bottom, and they're like wispy, but that's like flat.
Right. It's like a made thing. It doesn't look like feathers even if you were looking from far away. Beautiful. Anyway, so I'm going to stun everybody at the galas. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
Well, I don't know, because Overheard Jackson, Mississippi is talking about make sure you buy the feather bow tie. #Jackson. So other people know about it. Other people know about it, Landon. I'm sorry.
I'll be gracious about it, though. It's fine.
Will you see Aaron and Ben Napier at any of these events? Will they be there?
Usually do, for sure. I mean, they live here, so you see them often, and so I try to just be a regular person. But Aaron has been so kind to me and so helpful through this whole like whatever this is that I'm doing now, and I'm very grateful to her, because a lot of this, whatever this is knowing who the right people are to talk to and being in the right rooms and not getting with scammy people. Like there's a lot of people that want to
totally,
like take advantage of you and stuff. And that is the thing that I'm most grateful to her for, is like she pointed me in the right directions and approved people, just said, don't work these, like that kind of, she never told me not to work with anybody, but because she's so kind, she wouldn't say that about anybody. But having her guidance has just been so valuable, like just so valuable. And we'll never forget that, because that's really the thing, is the connections of people. I feel like,
I agree. And I think in the media world, I think it's always good to have some people you can trust, because I was at this convention podcast movement in Denver, and I met tons of people in the podcast industry. And then later I would talk to somebody that I trusted and say, oh, I met this person. They would go like,
right.
And I was like, oh, really? They seem so nice and so interested and like wanted to like, don't do any collab. Don't reach out. I was like, they're totally scammy. And I was like, oh, I thought they seemed nice. Yeah.
Right. And I, Southern me, think everybody pretty much seems nice. Like that's the filter that I put on everybody. So it's really valuable to have that, because I just would like agree to the thing. But I've had her to be able to help me like look through contracts, and got the agents that I need, and they help me do all that stuff. So I'm very fortunate to like had her do all this. I'm sure I would be in a mess if I hadn't had that guidance through the whole thing, So
you don't want to look back at it and be like, oh my gosh, I gave all my money away or gave all my ideas away. Like I'm giving away my mistletoe marketplace idea right here.
I mean, exactly. Yeah, you better lock that down after this. But right, exactly. Like I signed the wrong contract that was exclusive, and now I can't do that. I don't know. It's just all scary and new. So it's very good to have somebody knowledgeable to that. But speaking of, and wrapping us back to Southern Charm, another celebrity, Pat, followed me. Miss Pat followed me.
No.
I'm dead on the floor about it. She did. And I have to say, when I made a post about caftans, the whole thing was inspired by her. And in the back of my head, I was like, what if she sees this and likes it?
Right,
so I didn't plan it, but I did have subconscious intention around it, and here we are. And she even messaged me and said hello, and like just so kind. And I just can't believe it at all, because it really, honestly, when I started all this, I would have said like, Pat Dolly are like my goals, and I'll retire. And I was
Yeah.
halfway to retirement, and I'm just started. So
Don't retire, but I do love Pat, and I think Pat really on Southern Charm. We know you and I know a lot of ladies like Pat. Now,
right, that's
I've
why
never known anybody with a butler.
I have not known anybody with a butler, and that's the thing. And there's always like really rich people in Southern. Like every now and then,
Yeah.
there's a few families that you know, but I don't know butler people. And I'm glad she got a new one. I saw. Did you see him?
I've seen like the blips about it, but I need to get to know him because I'm still wedded to Michael, and I know Michael. I know Michael can't come back, but
I'm
he was so
completely
perfect.
loyal to Michael. He was perfect.
Yeah.
But in the background of, I think I saw one in the background of this.
Yeah, somebody said she had a new butler, but I think I can't imagine it's just so easy to find a butler.
No, that's personal. And what if they don't make the martini the right way? But
And what if they don't want to move to Charleston?
Well, I'm glad it's not just Whitney anymore. I want her to. She deserves the best, and Whitney is good, but I want her to have somebody that's a professional.
When you think about that show, when Whitney is the one that pitched it, and it was called like Southern Gentleman or something, But once they got to, it was supposed to be all men.
I knew Whitney pitched it. I didn't know that it was a Southern Gentleman, but
it was all men. And I think that if I had to guess, and Kate probably knows more about this, I think that probably when they got into it, they were like, maybe we need some women in here to balance out this grossness of these guys.
I think so. And even if they hadn't purposely put the women on there, this is the South. The women were going to be on there featured. Might as well make them featured because they are the like plot line. A lot of the times, like the ladies make this place run, so they were going to be there whether you featured them or not. Might as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Oh, Lord. Well, that is it. That's our wrap up. I just wanted to Southern Charm in Salt Lake City, and I don't need to get into like OC or New York, anything. Like I said, we're just touch of Bravo, shades of Bravo. It's just whatever's on my mind this week. But we gotta always talk about Bravo, just a smidge. I always got to talk about it. And I knew I had to talk to you about the baby shower. I knew you'd understand my stress.
Oh, for sure. And I know it's going to be stressful, but when it's done and everybody's gone, you're going to get to sit down and be like, I pulled it off. I did so good.
We have a brand new couch in our family room kitchen area. And it's not new for this party. It was already in the works. So the couch came about a month ago. It's great. I love it. It's beautiful. It's whatever. But I noticed that when you sat on it, it did a little wobble. So I was like, that's not, because it's got these kind of spindly, tall, like gold legs on it. So the lady, Eileen, that helps me with my house, you don't say decorator, interior designer. She's got a degree in it. She's, knows math and stuff. She came over and I told her, she was like, absolutely not. That shouldn't happen. And I was like, what if I get all these girls at my house for this party and the couch breaks?
Lord.
She has got the furniture doc is coming over tomorrow to make sure that couch doesn't collapse when my guests are in the home.
Well, but like, isn't there always something with ordering a couch? Like, I've never one time heard of somebody like getting the couch they wanted and it being the right couch and everything being appropriate.
Perfect.
Like, this is what happens every time. My mother-in-law worked about her couch sometimes. Like, it's a whole thing that you get a new couch and it's not going to be.
I wanted it to be like so much more comfortable than the old couch. And it's just not. It's just not more comfortable than the old couch. It looks better, but it's not more comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it considered a sofa if it's in like a fancy room? Is it considered a sofa, not a couch? I mean, we say couch.
We say couch most of the time. We say couch. I don't know if anybody would say sofa for sure. There is a sitting room, a fancy sitting room, and a fancy parlor occasionally, but
that's in the front. That's a different room. That's in the front of the house.
But the couch, I think the couch there is still a couch. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to investigate that.
I know. That'll have to be a topic.
Next comes mystery. Yeah, for sure.
What was your topic this week on Landon Talks?
You
did naked.
I did naked as a jaybird because I saw a blue jay naked. I'd never seen one before, and they molted, and I was like, "What in the world is going on?" And I had to investigate that, and then I was like, "Wait a second, this is a jaybird, and it is naked." I've
never seen a bluebird naked.
Well, I had to look into it because I was like, "There's diseased birds in my yard." I was like, something is wrong with the birds, but they molt once. maybe more than once a year, but there's like a week in September that they spend the week like naked and then they grow their feathers back. But the blue jays are obnoxious. And now that I work from home, I like am I have like really taken on the narrative of the birds. I'm like very concerned for the cardinals and this one hummingbird. I'm really wrapped up with it. So the blue jays are mean to all the other birds. So I really think about them. So when they lost all their feathers, I was like, ah! But yeah, they molt. And that's where I assume that is where the colloquialism naked as a jaybird came from.
Another thing people say is naked as the day is long.
Mm-hmm. And naked as the day she came, the whole.
Naked as the day is long. What does that mean?
Not related.
My listeners sometimes, if I'll talk about something on the podcast, I'll go, "Oh my gosh!" and they were just completely naked, and I couldn't believe it. And they'll write and be like, hey, "This is so funny the way you say naked." I go, "Well, that's the way you say naked."
That's how it's say. It's just better. It feels better.
Let me ask you one last question, because this is an age-old conversation on this podcast. And then I heard it this week on Welcome to Plathville. They were having a conversation about this as well. How do you pronounce this word? P-E-N.
Pen.
And how do you pronounce P-I-N?
Pen.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
you. It's pen. Everything's pen.
I can't imagine saying pen. Is that what
pen?
It's supposed to be? No, that's no way.
That's what happened this week on Welcome to Plathville. The one sister was saying about a pen, and the other sister goes, "What? You're supposed to say pen." I can't even say it. It's like unnatural.
It doesn't look right in your mouth. Your mouth looks weird saying it even.
Pen. And my friend Ingrid, who's my producer, is from Minnesota. And I mean, it's been years. She's like mad at me as if I'm completely illiterate and don't know what I'm saying. She's like, "That's not how you say that word." I go, "A pen is a pen, and a pen is also a pen."
It is.
And she's like, "It's a pen."
We are a context culture, and you just got to pick it up from the context. What if you're having to distinguish between the two, because it is a pen, both things.
And when I had we had our new puppy last year or whatever, I was like, "No, I made her like a little pen."
Yes.
She's like, "A what?" I go, "I made her a little pen so she won't get out." And she's like, "That's not how you say that word." I go, "It is." And you like, we are never going to agree. You're from Minnesota. I'm from Mississippi. And you're just going to, she's like, "But you're wrong." I'm like, "Well, I just can't help it."
It just is. Wrong or right, it just is what it is.
Okay, everybody out there criticizing me when I say pen and pen, it's all a pen, and Landon agrees.
It's a pen. It's a straight pen. It's a writing pen. It's a dog pen.
Thank you. Oh, I feel so validated. All right, Landon, tell everybody what you're doing and where they can find you and what's the latest with you.
Well, I am just having discussions on my Instagram page and TikTok at Landon Talks there, and at Landon Talks on Facebook. We're spreading to YouTube Landon Talks a lot, and we have got some very exciting things coming up in the future. That got a book situation coming up, some other productions. I'm excited to see how it grows. That everything just takes. It seems like it takes so long, but really, my whole career in this thing has been just lightning fast. So I'm really being patient as I can be. But some exciting stuff coming up, and I can't wait to see. But mostly, what is cool about what I'm doing is the community of people that are in the comments. It is gold. You could spend hours in my comment section just reading stories people share, the problems people have with something I said or with somebody else said, the way we're arguing about mayonnaise brands and not politics. It's like really a great time, and it's a really good glimpse into the South and how different everybody is and how different places are even within the South and how we relate to other people. I don't know. It's a great time in my comment section. I highly recommend it.
I agree, because a lot of people in those comment sections aren't from the South at all, and they're very interested in what you've talked about, and they're interested to learn something. Or I find it interesting when they let's say if you talked about like what you do at a funeral or something, and then they'll comment, and wherever they're from, Midwest or out West or whatever, they'll talk about what they do, and I always find that interesting too.
I mean, so fascinating. It's what I want to talk about. I wanted y'all to come tell me this. I didn't even know that this existed, but I very much want y'all to tell me how y'all do it. It's just so much fun. It's a great time.
Yeah.
It gives me because everybody's just so kind and exciting, and it's a good place to be.
It is. I agree. Everybody check out Landon Talks. I know that you already know about Landon, but check out Landon Talks. And I think you were on Kate's podcast last week.
I was. We had to talk about the Real Housewives of New York and the SE.
Okay. Yeah. So if you want to go listen to our friend Kate's podcast, go listen there. And you guys, please don't forget, follow me on Instagram at Pink Shade Pod. I don't have Landon type numbers, but I'm trying I'm trying.
She's getting there.
Not,
We're getting there.
no, I'm really
And
not.
what are
But
the
I'm.
anyway? What do they even mean? It doesn't mean anything over there.
I know it doesn't. I know it doesn't. And thanks everybody. And I will talk to you this weekend. If you're over on Supercast and Patreon, I'm covering 90 Day UK. I'm covering 90 Day the other way. And I'm covering Welcome to Plathville. So you can find that over on Supercast and Patreon. And I'll talk to you next week right here on this feed. Bye. Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.